This is Ryan with J-Man, and we're here with bare knuckle fighter Austin Spivey, aka DreamKilla. So, how are you feeling right now?
Man, I feel great. I obviously, the next couple days after a fight, you like run all the things you could have and should have done back through your head. It didn't exactly go according to plan. Obviously, I didn't win, but fight of the night, I'm so proud of that. I put what I think is a good performance. I haven't seen my own fight yet, so I don't actually know.
Mhm.
But from what everyone says, I love the fight. So.
So, what's the energy like walking into a bare knuckle fight compared to anything else?
Generally speaking, it doesn't kind of. I have nerves a
Mhm.
couple days prior. Day of the fight, I have a lot of nerves, and then the closer I get to the fight, I start to gain my composure and I just become calm.
So, what's going through your mind before the first punch? Like, this is no pads, this is like almost no safety kind of thing. What does that feel?
Nothing,
No.
nothing's going through my mind. I actually go kind of blank for a second. I live in the present. So, the thing about, I guess, fighting in general, what you have to realize is if you're thinking about anything else and you're not in the present, you could get hurt.
Mhm.
So for me, the most present I ever am in the present actually is when I fight.
Mm. So, bare knuckle, of course, feels a way more raw kind of sport. Is it more mental than physical at that kind of point?
It's a lot of both. It's very physically demanding, almost like wrestling. You told
Mhm.
me you were going to wrestling practice the other day, so you know
Yeah.
how physically demanding that is. Bare knuckle is also very taxing and physically demanding on your body, but it's also, yes, mental as well. I actually, what you saw in my fight, I got a little emotional. I got caught and I got cut open and I got a little bit emotional. So that's kind of what you saw in my fight. Which is
Now,
not good, but
yeah.
it comes with experience, learning how to stay composed.
Now, can you shut off fear completely, or do you have to learn how to like just control it?
Control what? Your composure or your emotions?
You're like, yeah, your emotions, like your fear.
I think you can shut off the fear, but I don't think you can shut off the emotions. So for me, like I didn't feel fear even when I was getting beat up, right?
Yeah.
It's not fear is not what I felt. It's like, okay, I've put in so much effort into this. I don't want to let myself down. So actually when I stood up and I was like, I flicked the guy off and everything, what it boiled down to, like I like looked across from me and I seen him in the corner, waving to the crowd like, yeah, I just won. And I'm like, oh no, you didn't just win. I'm gonna get up, you know. So yeah, it made me a little emotional seeing myself in that position, but it was like I was aware of what was going on. And yeah, it's weird because you would think you'd feel a lot more, but in the moment your adrenaline's going so much you don't feel a lot, but you're still like present in your mind.
Mhm. Now, for bare knuckle boxing, how do you exactly train for that? Because, like, I know it's kind of hard to just train with your bare knuckles because you don't want to hurt your hand before the fight. So, do you have to just do like kind of almost like normal boxing, or like how do you train your hands to get just prepared for that?
So I actually don't train hands. And you look at my hands are fine, right? A lot of people do go around punching hard stuff. I don't do that because I have proper punching technique. But I will say this: um, bare knuckle is boxing punching mechanics and MMA footwork.
Okay.
That's all it is. So if I sit there and I try to catch 6 or 7 punches in front of you, like we're in boxing gloves, I'm gonna get caught with 2 or 3 of those punches.
Yeah.
In MMA, you want to use your feet to get out of range because you don't have these big gloves on. It's the same thing in bare knuckle, except I don't have to worry about getting taken down, so I can really sit down on my punches and try to like knock you out. But
So when I was at the sites and I was obviously watching it, can you explain the rules kind of? Because of course it's just like kind of just normal like stand-up boxing, but I saw a lot of clinching was happening. Do they allow like a lot of dirty boxing kind of thing?
yes, yes. So you can dirty box and you can clinch. You can strike from the clinch. As long as you're working from the clinch, they'll let it ride for the most part.
Okay.
Even though I feel like sometimes you'll clinch and they'll break it up immediately. I don't know why that is, but whatever.
So do you ever look at your opponent's hands and do you ever think about like how ugly this is gonna get, or are you always just in the moment?
You know, my last two fights, I don't think I was living in reality because I finished them kind of untethered and unhit. I
Hmm.
might have got hit like once in my last two fights before Roberto Duran. And then when I fought Roberto Duran, reality kind of hit me. I got cut up, and I kind of realized now, hey, this is a brutal sport. I love, but I'm taking much more damage than this last.
So what's the darkest or most intense moment you've ever had in a fight mentally?
This would be actually it. I'm sitting there, I'm in very deep waters, and I know that my face is so cut up, and my gas tank's pretty much empty, and I feel like fatigue on my whole body. My equilibrium's knocked off, and my head's swimmy. Like I'm standing there, bro, and like my head's just swimmy. Everything's kind of a blur. One of my eyes is almost swole shut, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, huh, this shit sucks. And I took a seat for a second, and what you saw when I got up again, and I was like, oh no, I'm not done, is I was about to give up on myself, bro. I was. And I'm glad that I didn't. I'm glad that I stood up and I finished, maybe not in the preferred manner, but I seen it through.
Yeah.
What if I would have got up and knocked him out? No, that didn't happen, but what if it would have? So I'm just glad I didn't leave that what if up to chance. I
Mhm.
don't I don't like taking chances. I'd rather see it through, see it for what it is. So
So did this moment change you as a fighter or as a whole person?
both fighter and as a person. As a fighter, it changed me where I want to get to really chaotic and just like relentlessly tired moments and learn how to work through those because I haven't had many moments like that
Mhm.
throughout my sparring and my career. I'm very like talented, so I haven't experienced that much in my life. And as a person, it actually it's the same. I would like to not give up. It just proved to me who I am. I didn't give up in a really dark moment for myself, and I seen it through regardless of what the result is. I dedicated myself to seeing it through, and I'd like to do that with all things in my life.
Mhm. Now, do you ever visualize the fight before you go into it, or do you like to just go in raw?
You know, I am guilty of. I'll sit here and play 100,000 scenarios in my head of how I'd want it to go, or how it could possibly go wrong. I
Mhm.
think. I think it doesn't matter who you are. If you're about to be in a really chaotic situation, like maybe you think you're going to do something in actual life that could cost you something bad or something good, you kind of go over the analysis of all the things that could happen anyways, unless you're impulsive and you just run in there and just like whatever happens happens. But I'm not very impulsive. I'm very thoughtful, and I like to take a strategic mindset towards everything that I do in life. So,
So, what's scarier, the first punch you throw or is the first one you take?
Neither is scary.
Neither is scary. Okay.
So when I decide neither is scary.
Hmm.
Because when I know I'm gonna fight, I think about it like this. I'm gonna throw a punch and I'm gonna get hit.
Hmm.
If I get knocked out with the first punch, that's never happened to me ever. I've never even been knocked out, like knocked out. Even in this last fight, I got dropped and I got like um, rocked, but I didn't get knocked out. So I've never been knocked out since I was 15. I got knocked out at 15, but never been knocked out unconscious. And I just didn't see that happening no matter what. And I just don't think someone can hit me with the first punch and knock me out. Maybe I'm wrong. It is a reality. I know it could happen, but I just don't see it happening. So for me, when I sign up to fight, I know I'm going to get hit. I know I'm going to do some hitting. And that's just the way it is. I know what I sign up for.
Now, how do you reset mentally if something goes wrong early in a fight?
This is something that I'm actually not used to. In my amateur careers, I kind of had a lot of deep water fights where I would go to decision, but it's not like bare knuckle.
Hmm.
So bare knuckle is different, where it's taxing on your like face, it's taxing on
Yes.
your nerves, and it's really high paced. Versus MMA, listen, if I'm getting beat up on my feet, I can take you down, and then now it's a little bit slower pace.
Yeah.
You know, uh, with bare knuckle, you don't really have that option. So it's something that I'm still learning how to cope with.
Now, you've mentioned MMA a couple of times, and it's happened a couple of times before with like Jorge Masvidal's thing. What do you think about bare knuckle MMA actually becoming like a more and more common sport?
I think that it's better. It's not better than regular MMA. So UFC is great, right?
Of course.
Bare knuckle MMA is brutal, but it's not as brutal as bare knuckle boxing. You
Mhm.
think about it this way: what is the only way to go in bare knuckle boxing? There's two ways actually. You're either gonna get knocked out, or you're gonna get so cut up that they have to stop the fight,
Mhm.
right? Or you're gonna get technical knocked out, which is you pretty much beat the fuck up, like I just was, like.
Mhm.
And so I think bare knuckle MMA is still more taxing for cuts and stuff, but it you can slow it down with grappling. And the only thing about the grappling with no gloves is kind of convenient because let's say I take you down and now I'm thigh prying you and you have your glove down there and I grab the inside of your glove, you're kind of stuck. Can't get your hands back. You can't do that with no gloves. I can't grab your gloves, so it's actually probably a little bit more convenient
Mhm.
and you can slip the chokes in better and everything versus gloves.
Now, like I said, would you ever try to do bare knuckle MMA ever, or are you just happy with boxing?
Yeah, I would do it all.
Okay.
I'm an all around fighter. Listen, I would do King of the Streets. I'd headbutt somebody. I don't
Well,
know.
you know, oh, you
Like
were king of the streets?
I would do it. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I would do it. Yeah, yeah, 100%. I am a real fighter. Like I don't like though I would say I wouldn't prefer to do it unless I'm really getting paid. I would do it for sure though.
Mhm. So, how many hours a day are you putting in when you're fully in a camp?
Normally for my last couple camps, it's like 2, 3, 4 hours a day.
Hmm.
Um, with this last camp, I'm not gonna make any excuses. I know better, but I got a full time job. I'm learning how to uh, deal with having a full time job and train. And also, I'm kind of in between gyms and coaches and everything. So I'm trying to figure that out for myself.
Now, what's the most brutal workout you've ever had to push through?
Shit, all of them, bro. They all suck. I carry myself in deep waters all the time. I can spar 12 rounds and I'll be fine, you know?
Mhm.
Or I will. It's a little bit different when you're cutting weight. So, like this last fight, I went from 190 down to 156 in 3 weeks. And that's one of the things that it was most taxing for me because I normally don't cut that much weight. I normally walk around 165, 166, and I fight at 165 or 160. I cut all the way down to 55. I was walking around at 190. So actually, this camp, those workouts was probably the most taxing for me because I was depleted, dehydrated, and I was just not doing good.
Now, how much of your training is like strategy versus just like straight toughness and just straight workout?
I would say 80-20.
Okay.
80% strategy, 20% just dogging it out. I mean, depends on if I'm hard sparring for the camp or where I'm at. If I'm in a boxing gym or MMA gym,
Now,
I said I would say boxing's more kind of just dogging it out, learning as you go,
Mhm.
versus MMA is more strategic.
Do you train differently knowing that one clean punch can change everything in a bare knuckle fight?
No,
No.
no, it doesn't. My fighting style is kind of what you see is what you get. I don't, even if I think someone's better than me, I don't let it dictate my style because where I'm comfortable is where I'm comfortable. And I actually believe that one of the things you saw in my fight is I went about the fight in a different way than I normally would.
Hmm.
So I shouldn't let what I think someone's skill level is dictate what I do. My game is my game. What I'm good at, I'm already good at it. Why try to change it the last minute? I shouldn't, you know,
Hmm.
but sometimes you do. But that's what it is.
Now, do you worry more about your hands breaking or getting cut up?
Neither.
Okay.
I don't worry about none of that shit.
It's-
Listen, if I break one of my hands off, I'm gonna punch someone with just my wrist. I swear. I'm
Okay.
not worried about that.
What what
You
hurt?
ever seen boxing? You ever seen boxing?
Yeah.
Okay, well, in an episode of Baki, the general or one of the guys
Uh,
got his hands cut off, and he was just using his wrist to punch. That would be me.
so the next day, what do you think is gonna hurt more, your hands or your face?
My face.
Okay.
No, no, I can tell you from experience. I mean, I will say, my first bare knuckle fight, I won by knockout in 40 or 51 seconds or something. And my arm, my shoulder, I threw my shoulder out when I knocked the guy out. I threw my shoulder out. My shoulder hurt for 6 months. After that, my knuckle hurt in the next one for like 2 days, 3 days, like a little swell or whatever. And then this one, I went more rounds than I ever have, and my knuckles are fine. And but my face is fucked up, so it's kind of yeah.
What age did you start training?
I started 3 years ago, but I started training 3 years ago. I started fighting when I was a kid. I fought in the backyard and like kind of street fight, like Kimbo Slice and died off 5,000 actually, who started BKB. when I was like 15, 16 years old. But I started training 3 years ago, three
Is
and a half.
did you have your amateur fights 3 years ago as well, or when did you have your amateur fights?
My first amateur fight was zero training.
Hmm.
I was losing. And then 3 years ago, like I said, I moved to Miami. I lived at a gym for a year and a half. After 2 months, I took my first kickboxing fight with a guy that had 10 MMA fights. I beat him.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's where we went. So we just fought in these last 3 years.
Now, did your family support you, or did they think it was kind of crazy what you were doing?
Hell no. Everyone in the world thought it was crazy what I was doing.
Hmm.
And then I mean, it's just now, before this last fight, people started believing in me. And I mean, I've always believed in myself as a thing, you know. I'm relentless towards whatever I pursue. So I'm going to make it happen. That's just the person I am. But yeah, everyone's always thought I was crazy. I am a little bit crazy, but I'm crazy enough to believe that I can make it happen. And that's what you see.
So, how did you go from just starting out to stepping into bare knuckle boxing?
Um, I was a two-time amateur MMA champion, a two-time amateur boxing champion. I was 8-0 in amateur boxing. I was 2-4 in amateur, or 2-6 technically, if you want to get technical, because my fights when I was 18. I was 2-6 in amateur MMA. Um, so I had a losing record in MMA, but a good record in amateur boxing. But I was gonna go professional in MMA, and I tore both my meniscus and my knees, and I can't. Though I love to grapple, it hurts me. It hurts my knees to grapple. So I decided to try a professional boxing fight. I fought a guy that was 5-0 with 4 KOs for my first boxing fight. I went to decision. I did it on a week's notice, and I feel like it was a very close fight. Um, but when you take a B-side fight in boxing, especially in the guy's hometown, you have to knock him out to get the win. And I did not. So I lost. And then I seen all the politics that come with boxing and that you probably need a promoter to be someone in boxing. So that's how I ended up in bare knuckle. Bare knuckles, you kind of have an equal opportunity. I mean, look at just what I just did in 3 years, and I've only been doing bare knuckle like I don't know 9 months or what is August of last year.
Hmm.
So yeah, like 9 months, right? I made my bare knuckle debut, and since then I'm 2-1 now. But I just fought Roberto Duran Jr., which has fought for the world title twice. So I had an opportunity to be someone, and now I am becoming someone. Even if I lost, right?
Hmm.
I'm in the process of becoming someone in this sport, and that's why I chose bare knuckle.
Now, do you see bare knuckle growing bigger than traditional boxing in the future?
No,
No.
no.
So, with that being said, who would be a dream opponent for you in bare knuckle boxing? Would you want a rematch or would you want to just go straight to the title?
Well, I think Roberto Duran will probably die for the world title after this next fight with Paulie Magaloni or whatever his name is.
Uh,
But my dream fight, my dream fight would probably be shit. This is taking it a little far, but Mike Perry, give me him.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
that's been a different organization, but Mike Perry. I look up to Mike Perry. I'd like to fight him one day.
Now,
He's a big boy compared to me, though.
oh yeah, he is pretty big. Do
Yeah.
you like to study your opponents a lot or do you trust your instincts more?
The last to before Roberto. I didn't study at all, and I just trusted my instincts. I mean, I watched a clip or two, and I'm like, yeah, this dude's getting knocked out, and that's kind of what happened. With Roberto, I was more cautious and I was more focused and studied a little bit more, and it didn't go well for me. So I kind of wish I would have just did what I do, you know.
What's the craziest thing that's happened backstage at a fight?
For me,
Yeah.
nothing,
Uh-huh. Okay. What?
nothing,
All right.
nothing interesting.
Okay. What is your favorite cheat meal after a fight?
Mm, I eat cheat meals all the time unless I'm cutting 30 pounds. So this one would probably have to be man. I just missed French fries. I love French fries, bro.
All right, last question. You're on death row and it's time for your final meal. What is on the menu?
Wagyu. Probably a 32-ounce Wagyu ribeye, jasmine white rice, oxtails, and some Thai food.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on my show. It's been my pleasure. Thank you again.
Yeah, appreciate you, bro.
Thanks, dude. Bye.
Later.